The challenge that I gave you previously was to make it so that when they click on either of these rows, they would be taken to a different activity. In that activity, of course, we are going to be passing the data, meaning James and the phone number, so that we can either display and do whatever we want on that second activity. Okay, so I hope you were able to do that, but in any case, let's go ahead and do that for completion. So what I'm going to do, let's go to our main source here, resources. Instead of layouts, I'm going to actually create a new activity. So new, let's go ahead and say activity. I'm going to create an empty activity like that. When you do that, we're able to create the name of this activity, but also not only do we create the Java activity file, but also the XML. So that is the beauty here. Okay, so I'm going to call this details activity. You can see it goes ahead and generates the layout file for us. Everything's good. I'm going to say finish. Takes a few seconds. And voila. I'm going to kill a few things here because we don't quite need them very much. Delete that. Database handler, we don't need that. Util, we don't need that either. Main activity, we don't need that. Okay, very good. So now that we have our activity details here, you can see it's quite small. What I'm going to do really, I'm just going to go ahead and put a few things in here. First of all, it's going to be 2 text views. I'm going to put the first one there. Put the second one at the bottom there. Okay, so let me add a few things. There we go. And I'm going to do the same as well here. I'm going to connect and move this a little bit down. It doesn't like that. Let me go ahead and do the top one first. Put it there. And there. Very good. All right, so nothing big here. I'm going to just change this to detail or deets underscore name. Notice that I always like to append the name of the activity. So deets for details and underscore name. That way we don't have conflicts in the naming scheme here. I'm going to say yes. This one is going to be deets underscore phone. That's fine like that. Very good. So we have those 2 there in our activity details. Very good. So of course I'm going to come up here just to set things up real quick here. Text view, I got 2 of them. So I'm going to say deets name, deets phone. Okay. That's another way to do this. So if we have 2 types that are the same, we can just delimit them with a comma. I don't recommend doing this. I always recommend do the other way around. We've been doing, put everything in a different line, but this works for us. It's fine for now. Very good. We have that, and that we should be good. Actually, not really. We're going to say deets name find by id r.id.deets name deets phone. Very good. So we have those. They are set up for us to use. All right, so let's go back to our recycle view and figure out how do we then pass things around. Well, we must pass things around where? Well, it's got to be inside, of course, of our own click, because we want it so that, let's say when they click on the icon button, then we can be taken there. Or rather, I'm just going to get rid of all this together. That was just an experiment, things I wanted to show you. I'm going to also comment that out there. So at this point here, we still have our item set on click listener. We can leave this as it is right now. It's not going to do anything anyway. And so now we are going to create what? Well, we're going to create an intent. I'm going to say intent. Well, intent is equal to what? New intent as such. And for our intent to work, we need to pass the context. The context we're going to pass here is going to be what? Well, because we're not inside of an activity, I can't just say main activity like that. I could, but that's not going to really help our case at this point. So what I actually want to do here, I'm going to just pass the context, which is the context that we created earlier at the top here. So this context is the one that's going to be passed to create the recycle view adapter. So it's context that is going to be contextual, which is what we want with the activity. So in fact, when we go to our activity, main activity here, when we create our adapter, that's where we're passing the context. So that's good because that's going to be the main activity or main activity that is, which is what we want for its context. All right, so at this point here, of course, we have to pass something else. Where are we going? Well, we're going to details.class like that. There we go. So we have our intent. Now we are going to put some data in our intent, right? I'm going to say intent that put extra like that, and I'm going to start putting extra. Well, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to pass in the name. That's the key. And how do I get the name? Well, in this case here, I'm just going to go ahead and say contact dot get name, right? Because we have our object contact here and we know exactly the position of it, so we know its correct position of the object that is being shown. Okay, I'm going to say intent dot put extra. I'm going to call this number. There we go. Now, once we have that, usually what do we do to start a new activity? We say start activity like this. And you notice that we can't start an activity like that because, well, first of all, again, we're not inside of an activity. But how do we go about getting the activity, or at least the start activity method? Well, we get that from our context, because remember, the context knows exactly what's going on, especially as we used here, we passing this is going to be the activity, the hosting activity, if you will. Okay, because this is going to be called where? In the main activity. Like you see here, we pass this main activity as the context, which means now we can use it to invoke our start activity. So I'm going to say context like that, dot, look at that. I can start activity. I want start activity 1 like that. And I'm going to pass our intent as such. Okay, very good. So now I can come back to our details here and I can say bundle is equal to get intent dot get extras like that. So at this point here, it's going to go ahead and get all the extras, meaning everything that we set to be sent out, right, in our extras here. Very good. So I have that object now in bundle. And before we do anything, I like to say if bundle is not null like that, then we are ready to do business. First of all, I'm going to say string name is equal to bundle dot get string. That was name, the key. I'm going to say string phone is equal to bundle dot get string phone like that. And once that's good, I can now say details with its name dot set text and pass our name. Look at that. All of these you should be able to do. And I'm going to set the phone here. Phone number like that. Save. If all goes well, we should be able to click and get all the information that we set here. So I'm going to run this once again from the start. Okay, still working. Click. Look at that. Says James. And the phone is not showing. Did I send the phone? Perhaps we did not send the phone. Oh, we call it number. Ha. There we go. That's the reason why it's not really showing. So this has to be number. You probably saw that and thought, what in the world is Paulo doing? All right, let's see. Take a look and voila, you can see Greg and there's a number. If we go back, click on Karimo, it's Karimo and there's a number. So now we're able to finalize our very little app here with everything that we will ever need pretty much. So it's Litos and there we go. All right, so I hope you were able to get this working. Maybe the little challenge would have been to figure out how to start our activity because you couldn't just say start activity and pass intent. But other than that, now you understand how it works and we are free to do all sort of things. All right, I'll see you next.